I've taken this pancake recipe from One Dish Kitchen and elevated it by adding in matcha and almond milk. So I think of these as almost like an almond latte pancake. That's how we're gonna rebrand it today. Very excited about them. Also very much so still in love with my little recipe journal. I originally wrote down this recipe in 2021, which is crazy that I've been making it for 5 years. I didn't think it was that old in my collection. June 2023, I added 1.5 tablespoons of espresso. So I'm gonna add in here 1 teaspoon matcha plus sub almond milk. And I will write the date as June 2026. Wait, that's crazy. Why is June the month of the year that I like to do a lot of subs on this recipe? There it is, added there. I love like making those little notes and dating them because then it makes my recipe journal not just a recipe book, like for the purpose of recreating things that I love, but also I get to see in my past what kinds of things I was experimenting with, what changes I've adapted, all that fun stuff. It is too nice of a day for me not to get out of the house. I think I'm gonna pop out and just grab a quick coffee. This is my fit today. So I think I'm gonna pair it with white sneakers, but I, a few months ago, replaced my old Reebok Princess sneakers. These are them right here. They're my favorite white sneaker with a new pair of the exact same sneaker. And you can just tell the big difference in the old pair and the new pair. I've worn these new pair probably like twice because I feel like now that I have two of the same shoe, I'm like purposely choosing occasions where to wear the nice pristine ones versus the old rattier ones, because like they're not quite falling apart yet, so I still don't want to get rid of them because there's a time and a place where you just need an old sneaker. But this one is just definitely a better look, especially for an outfit like today. The princess sneaker is just so nostalgic to me because my mom owned the princess sneaker in her 20s and 30s, and I remember it vividly as like a shoe that I associated with her. So I just find it cool that I've also spent my 20s running around Toronto in that shoe. But I think I might be like in love with Reebok quite a bit because I bought a couple other pairs a few weeks ago at Sports Chuck. I know someone who was able to get me a special discount, so I got these black ones. The Energen Run 4. It's a really classic looking black sneaker. I got these for $35. The regular, I think, 110 Canadian. And then these ones I got for working out. They're a little bit more fun, kind of like a burgundy plum color. I think I'm going to use these as my new indoor workout shoe because I don't currently work out with running shoes on, which is arguably not the smartest thing to do because my ankles don't get as much support for certain types of workouts. So I intend to keep these as an indoor shoe. I wear these very sporty Nike slides all the time in my apartment. I love an indoor shoe because I find my feet get really angry when I'm standing for too long without that extra support. And I like a slide over slipper because although slippers are cute and cozy, they also feel like more of a tripping hazard and they just get like overheated in my feet. So something like this is much better. And I like the fact that this is a little sleeker than my Nike ones. Not that it matters, it's a house shoe, but I just think this is a nice upgrade. I've had those Nike ones for a very, very long time. I think I'm pairing today's outfit with this tote bag. I got it from the One of a Kind spring show a couple months ago. In the few weeks that we've had nice summer weather, I've also been pairing tote bags with this Longchamp crossbody. I wore it a ton last year. I know last year and maybe the year before this was super trendy and probably is not as popular now, but I still love it and I'm gonna wear it because it is super functional and cute. And I just talked about this in the Monday Sip newsletter I was writing, that I can't stand this concept of when something goes out of trend that it's no longer able to be seen or you have to feel like some sort of shame for embracing it. Like I feel like everyone's talking about how bare nails are in this summer, and I've always been someone who tends to wear bare nails, not because I feel like I'm above nail polish, because mostly nail polish just chips on me within 24 hours of applying it. Even if I get it done professionally, I might get more than 24 hours, but within a few days it chips. And then I'm like, ugh, like when I'm filming all the time, it's annoying to have to deal with chips. So it's easier for the most part for me to stay bare nailed. But like, this is like a new trend that's coming into effect this summer. And I already see like dialogue of people saying like, long colorful nails like just feel like so yesterday. It's not as chic because everyone can have a long colorful nail by going to the salon, whereas to have bare nails, like you have to actually have good quality bare nails. So that shows like, ooh, it's luxurious because not everyone can attain it. And I feel like it can be really silly. Like that's the spiral we can go down with trends. I'm always trying to be mindful when something is trending, whether it's a food or a fashion item, a beauty concept. It's like, is this something that long-term I actually feel like has application in my life, or something that I will continue to love? And this bag is one of those things that like I see as long-term, something I'm gonna love wearing, whether I'm in trend or not. And you know, maybe I'll get some brownie points this season because I'm in trend, but next year, when I'm sure polish comes back in or some sort of new nail trend emerges, I will probably still be more often than not rocking the bears. Ooh, I don't like that phrasing, rocking the bears. I don't want to sound like I'm above trends or I'm above liking what other people like. It's just like picking and choosing rather than autopilot accepting anything that's trending on platforms, you know? So anyways, this is me in my chewy crossbody and tote bag and white sneakers because it's still working for me. All of it's still good. I see a lot of IKEA customization videos on the internet, and for years I've known that I've wanted to do some sort of makeover with my bedroom side table. It is a very classic IKEA piece, and the one thing I did do early on was switch out the knob. It's traditionally like this black knob, and I think switching it to this more antique-y, vintagey looking knob definitely gives it an upgrade. But I want to take it a step further, mostly because the top of this side table is looking a little ratty. My first plan was to use this wood contact paper on the top and kind of call it a day. But I ended up buying this marble version that I think is going to probably look a little bit better. Still might use this for this project. Let's start with this though. I hope this works, because if it doesn't, it's going right back. I definitely thought this was going to be like wider in size, so I wouldn't have to do two overlapping pieces. But that's what happens when you buy stuff online and don't measure. See the seam, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Side table definitely got a glow up. I do wonder though, did I go a step too far with the checkered board? I am sure there will be plenty of thoughts in the comments below. Do I keep the checkered board? Do I do it in paint? I think I'll have a better idea when I see it in the bedroom. I'll just have to be mindful of the decor to kind of like help balance out the light and the dark wood and mix it a little bit more smoothly. I feel like I'm on a roll right now, so I just want to keep on going. Something I had been seeing trending online is people using these steel mini toolboxes as stationary organization. I thought it was cute when I saw it online, but I didn't feel like a mini toolbox was necessary for myself. However, I ended up finding this on sale at Canadian Tire, and it got me thinking this would actually be the perfect storage unit for all of my leather making tools, because currently the setup is in this PR box that I've just been reusing, which is totally fine, but everything is kind of just jumbled in here, and I like the fact that this has drawers that I can organize different elements of the leather process into it. Everything doesn't even fit in here. I have a bag of all the leather sewing tools, so I think this is actually going to be perfect. And I made sure to get it in like a cream so that I ideally won't get sick of it. Ow. Oh my god. Let's see the drawers. Okay, one drawer and one deeper drawer. I have a tall drawer, I have a shorter drawer, and then I have this upper compartment. top level here, I have tools. I've got my rotary cutter. This is essential. Tons of different needles, a measuring tape, some leather stitch punches, more tools. In the second drawer, I have some charms, my grommet kit, some round punches, and then this third drawer has elastic cord, my hot foil pen and all the hot foil. I keep it in a Ziploc bag because it's kind of messy, and then a set of waxed threads. So I think this is working out quite nicely. I think this is a much better setup than before because I can actually see everything. So I'm quite pumped about this. So gross. Good news is I just showed my mom the side table and she didn't cringe at it. So I don't think it looks horrible. So we're counting that as a success. I mentioned the same idea though in last week's testing viral DIYs video, which I do think I want to make a regular series here, like a once a month video, because I just have a lot of fun with it. So if that's something you're interested, please let me know. But I had said that one of the great things about certain DIYs, like the yarn lamp that I did, is that you can easily reverse them, and that there's like a time and place for those DIYs that are completely permanent, and then other times it's nice to just give yourself the opportunity to change your mind. And that I think is really great. That a great thing about this table is that I've used like contact paper, so all of it can be removed. Even the checkered board drawer if I change my mind on it. And because the table itself is also a wood stain, it's just going to be so easy to paint one day. I do feel like ultimately it'll get a paint job at some point. But this was a really great way to stretch out the in-between of that. We'll see how it holds up though, you know? I could change my mind in a couple weeks if things start like peeling and it gets looking off or gross. The rest of the night though, I want to be a relaxation station. I just want to chill out. I'm gonna lock my phone with my NFC tag that I did last week. That has been working so well at stopping the autopilot scrolling that I sometimes am susceptible to. While I'm not scrolling though, I'm gonna start Carly Fortune's Our Perfect Storm. Carly Fortune is a local Ontario author, so I always really love her books because they tend to be based in, or there tends to be a lot of references to places that I know, I'm very familiar with. I don't know though the plot or where this particular one, Our Perfect Storm, takes place. I'll have it linked in the description box below. I feel like her books always come out around this time of the year where it feels like, yes, summer is beginning. A new Carly Fortune book is here. I'm keeping my fingers crossed it's a good one because 2026 reading has been a little bit of a flop for me. So if you've got any recommendations for books that should be on my summer reading list, please leave them in the comments below. I need some good stuff. I want top tier. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys soon with a new one. Bye guys.